Welcome, everybody. If there's anybody here yet, I don't know. You're going to have to do that. I can't see my screen. So, in fact, let me just see if I can
There's one person in the chat. If you could come on and say a wee quick hi, just to let us know that you can see us.
Yes,
and then, hello, Eric.
Evening, Eric. Right, tonight, guys, we are myself, Ian, Lewis, special guest Tonya, and Mr. Late, as always, Mr. Mooley, who will join us.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, North Pole.
Hi, everyone up in the North Pole.
Booshed. That's further out than you. Yeah, our special guest tonight is Tonya Denny. Would you like to introduce yourself, Tonya?
Yes, I'm Tonya Denny. I'm from North Carolina in America. I run the Winston-Salem Paranormal Society, investigation team, and we sponsor several teams in the North Carolina area. We have meetup groups and do a lot of historical research along with some of the cases in the area towns around us.
Brilliant.
Hey, Rita.
We might be able to do some collabs in future then as well with other members at groups and what have you. We've got, as I said, we've got people all over the place these days, especially in America. You might know Nick when he gets on. I'll be surprised if you don't. He's quite well known over there. So tonight, our subject is portals. Done a little bit of research other than what I already know, but I'm surprised there's a tech failure. I am not a tech person whatsoever, but I've been looking up little bits and bats. And what is a portal? There's a few different types of portals today. There's the digital portal, which again, it's not my forte at all, is it? But yeah, digital portal. Mainly used to describe a business hub or a gateway. Well, that's self-explanatory. That's the type of gateway that I'm familiar with being called a portal. But it's paranormal to me. He said that's where its origins come from. A gateway to the other side, to allow spirits and other deities, some human origin, some alien origin, and some not so, shall we say, human origin. These can include things like little hobgoblins, demons, devils, things that are classed as myth now, or fables. Gosh, the red-eyed monster there. But what can we say about portals? What's everybody's experiences? We'll start with you, Lewis. Come on, what's your experiences of portals?
Portals, I've never really came across any place. We have had suspicion a portal in a hotel, and it's actually Ian's good friend Alistair Cowley that's meant to be behind that portal in Scotland. Oh, there he is. Hello, handsome.
Fashionably late as ever.
Oh, he's only 5 minutes late. That's because he was 9 minutes early in the other show, so he's got to be 5 minutes late in this one.
Evening, Nick. We've got another lady from your neck as well as a guest, and that's Tonya Denny. If you want to introduce yourself.
Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear the dog barking in the background, so I might have to mute this for a few minutes.
Right. We'll let you introduce each other to yourselves to each other in a bit then.
So that's only really thing that I've ever had to do with a portal was, an Alistair Cowley situation. It was believed that he created a portal in Peebles, like a vortex. So it was I love when Nick laughs with pure silence, because you just see it's like what Charlie Chaplin sitting in the background.
I'll have to get my little tap.
No, that wouldn't be very good. That no, definitely not. No, we'll be getting swastikas next.
The love we
So,
have for
yeah,
you,
so-
Mr. Millie.
What about what about you, Ian? What's your experience with portal? Not portal, portal.
Yeah, so the case I've got to deal with on Sunday is obviously a portal and a mirror, which is not the first time we've dealt with that. And we had a case in Kent where there was a portal at the top of a stairwell, which we actually got on camera, something coming through it on 2 occasions. Apart from that, funny enough, being Alistair Crowley's home county, I've never actually found a portal around here, but I haven't found them yet. But it's quite possible because we have many tunnels under the town, and he was quite well known about popping down them, so it's quite possible there's one underground.
Oh wow!
Definitely, that's my experience. Is that a lot of these portals tend to be in nature, either underground in subterranean or in forests, ancient forests. It's funny you mentioned about mirrors, because that's something else. From experience, I've only noticed when mirrors are used, they're very, very old mirrors. The new style mirrors with the modern backing to them don't seem to be conducive to a portal, whereas the old style mirror, I don't know what the backing for it is. Some sort of mercury in it or something for the reflective surface on back of a mirror, but I don't know.
Where's our guest? Our guest's gone.
Yeah, she just disappeared.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she's got down a portal.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Where's she going?
Yeah.
It's because you fucking smiled at her, Ian.
You've got your portal with you.
You take your
What's
portal.
your-
I nearly said porno. Portal. You take your portal.
What's your experience with portals, Nick?
Hey, Lauren.
Hello, Lauren.
Lauren.
What do you mean? Can you not hear me, Nick, or what?
Yeah, sorry. I was focused on the comments. Were just saying. What was the question one more time?
What's your
favorite
experience?
porno?
So
Debbie does Dallas.
I think it was a notorious NICK.
Oh, wait, here, here she's back. Here we go.
I'm back. Sorry.
Hello.
Well, to answer your question, though, Elise Bry, is that as far as portals go, I haven't really had a lot of experience with it. Not to say I never have, but the closest I can really think of something as far as portals go is at least at 1 or 2 different locations I've gone to where, because, like when you think about it, like we always are associated with these, like, mysterious temperature changes, like in certain areas, like cold spots, sometimes hot spots and whatnot. But if it moves, if it stays, I mean, this is just my opinion, but from what I've learned about over the years is that if it's literally stuck to just one area, like let's say of a house, for example, and if there's like some kind of also like a movement or something like that, I don't know if I could really say exactly if that would be a portal that we've experienced, but it was probably the edge is like the gateway to one. So, damn it, Lauren. But yeah, that's as close as I've ever gone to portals.
Yeah, it's interesting. Definitely interesting. Now, what's your experience of portals, Tonya?
Probably the most experience I've had with portals would be through private home cases where people have been experimenting with Ouija boards and other occult devices without, understanding of how they work, and they don't close their sessions, and sometimes it'll open up a portal. So that'd probably be the most experience I've had with portals.
I suppose, I never thought about Ouija boards being types of portals, really. But I suppose they are, literally speaking.
Well, you
yeah,
can open one with one, can't you?
yeah. Portable portal.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. But you say about
sorry.
one of the mirrors we actually dealt with came from an asylum. And I said to them, well, why on earth have you got a mirror from an asylum? Oh, someone gave it to me. And that could have been transporting things from the asylum into their house. But
yeah.
Terry's made a couple of comments. He says old mirrors have mercury and silvering at the back, gives them depth.
yeah.
And he said ley lines, energy lines, more likely to be disputed in the energy field, which people may say a portal.
Yeah, there's a place. That's very interesting. Yes, I know, Ian, and I know you're not. I'm going to see this face in a second because there was a certain episode on a series that a certain person that Ian doesn't like very much.
Baggins.
Yeah, but it was a very good episode, to be fair. And it was early doers when he did do the job properly. And this was, I don't know whether you know where it is, Tonya and Nick, but it was a house that was situated and this river flowed beneath it. And they made a feature of part of it.
That's a hotel, isn't it?
Yes, it could have been. Yes, actually, it was.
I think it was. Yeah.
My friend Dov Phillips went out there a couple of years back.
Yeah, pretty good place.
It's the little girl, the ghost of the little girl in the stream.
Correct. Yeah, the little girl in the stream, and they did get a fair bit of evidence. But again, naturally speaking, ley lines, and they reckon there was a portal where the hotel touched the river, the stream that ran beneath it.
Yeah,
we don't know because I haven't seen anything since. And I was really intrigued by that place. Really intrigued by it.
My boy picked me some flowers when he went out of walk. God love him.
Cowslip. No, cowslip. Milkmaid. Milkmaid.
I'll have a word with Don. He's got an episode he did at that hotel and he investigated it. I'll try and find a link for you.
Yeah, definitely. It fascinates me, that place. Very, very, very. You ought to try and see if you can find it as well, Nick, or we'll get it forwarded to you because it's in your neck of woods somewhere. Very nice place to visit.
What was the place called?
Loads of things going off. Loads of shadow people and everything going off there.
I'll find out. He actually.
Which place is this again?
I'm just going to find out because.
It's a hotel.
You know what?
I don't think it's in business. It's not been in business for some time. Apparently, it's abandoned. So,
well, see, now that I can't remember the name of the place, but since you described it, yes, I think it was, of course, on Ghost Adventures years ago. But I think even before they ever showed up, like probably about 10 years prior before they ever showed up, there was a special like paranormal documentary that was made back in the late 90s. I think it was about over 25 years ago, back in like 1997, I think. And in fact, actually, I think the full documentary might even be on YouTube. I think it was America's Haunted Houses, and despite its name, they still covered hotels and whatnot. And I think that hotel that you're talking about was among one of those that was featured in it. So this was still at a time before we had, like, it was just a single documentary. This was at a time before they had all these different paranormal series that were coming out, aside from the show Sightings.
Yeah.
It's the Brookdale Hotel.
That's the one, Brookdale Hotel.
Yeah, it's funny. My friend Don Phillips went out there and he actually picked up on a serial killer.
Oof.
Oh, really?
Oh.
And he's picked up 4 victims, and the guy, one of them's buried nearby that. So when he gets a chance to go back there, he's going to further investigate it.
Definitely, because there were a series of chalets or something as well that ran outside at River.
Yes,
away from hotel. Yeah, there were lots of stuff going off there, including on a further episode. There was actually apparently Dogman reported there as well. So it's a very, very active area.
Dan gets everywhere.
Yep. Evening, Dan.
So yeah, again, my experience of portals is I've had 2 experiences. I said before you got on, Nick, I was telling before we went on air. I was doing an investigation. This is years ago, pre-using phones for cameras and actual cameras and equipment as such. We were doing a circle in the middle of these woods, which I knew were active, but I never expected what we got. We'd got a witch in our group, and all of a sudden she picked up on this young girl, and she says she's crying. She's lost her parents.
Hey, Laura.
She couldn't keep up, and she's crying for her parents, and she didn't know where they were, basically. And all of a sudden, she started with transfiguration and was possessed by this young girl and started talking like the young girl, her voice, which were freaky. It were really freaky. And there's not much bothers me, but the transformation in that woman's face and voice was unreal. And she was telling us, and we communicated, and then she left, which is good because sometimes they don't. And it was brilliant. And this was just in the crux of these 2 trees that have been there. They seem to be original trees, if I can put it that way. They weren't big, they were stunted, which were odd again. In the middle of these woods, they were stunted trees, but they were older. They had this feel and this look about them, even though it was night time. I mean, his torches were pretty good. That's my first experience. The second one was totally and utterly different. I went with another group to a place in Wakefield, and this again was on a bank side, by the side of a river. Well, I'm saying a river. To me, it looked more like a reservoir, but I'm assured it's a river that's just widened in that area. We got a bank in anyway.
Hey, Rob.
Evening. We were doing some call outs. And all of a sudden, everybody started getting headaches and feeling stressed and stomach aches and all sorts going off. All the usual suspects. The atmosphere changed, and you could feel that change. I mean, again, if we'd got instruments to be able to do it, like Ian's got the instruments to do it, you'd have picked all sorts up. But we didn't. I just do what I do, and I go on gut instinct. And I found this portal on the side of this bank, and it actually looked like somebody being over time leaving trinkets, shall we say, crystals, just randomly placed, and then this tree with its bough that were going up, and that had got ribbons and things hanging from it. So it's been used for various things, possibly a witch coven's been using it. They've probably been doing devil worshipping, but it seemed to go back a long, long way before that, because there were trinkets there that nobody had touched since the day they were put. They were half sunk into the ground. And that atmosphere from there was immense. And I sensed, as soon as I put my hand anywhere near it, I could sense like I was doing Reiki. The palm of my hand was vibrating something chronic. So I backed off and we left it as that. I'd love to go back there for that very reason. But the other group were wanting to do other things, and they were convinced that there were certain people in that area, and I don't think there were. I think it was this entity from this portal that were telling them what they wanted to hear, basically. What they call a mimic. So that fascinated me. That. Has anybody else got any stories?
Not that I can recall.
No.
Sorry, guys, I had to jump out and come back in because my screen kept going off after about 3 seconds. It kept flashing off and flashing thing. So I'm back.
So Terry had a question. She's asking, do you think porting, I guess if I'm saying that right, is not portals or ripped in dimensions? I've seen it twice, only in 50 years.
What's that?
Porting, I guess, or I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly.
Do you think apparent, maybe?
What that means, actually, but do you know what that means, Ian? I'm not sure.
Picking it up.
Cheating.
Hi, Nate. Hi, Nate.
What do you mean, Nettie?
Don't ask me. I'm dyslexic, so.
Any excuse.
Anything more than 2 words, 2 letters, it's out my pay grade.
I'm not familiar with that explanation anyway, but there's varying things. Everybody.
What he says, movement of objects, seemingly from spirit, brought them out of the air.
All right. Okay.
Interesting.
Not heard it mentioned that way before. The only time I've known about things being moved, it's in connotation with poltergeist.
That's what I was going to say. Sounds more like something out of poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, which I've experienced that as well. That scared the life out of me. But again, it's when you get a grip, because initially we're only human, even such as us that's been doing this type of thing for years and years, we're only human. So initially you can get caught off guard and you can get scared. I have a few times, but then you get a grip and then you reanalyze and say, right, what were it? Fright or flight? Were it my own senses overload? What's actually going off? And that's when I have actually started to use, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes I use equipment. But I know we're getting back onto it, but I don't like apps. I think they're absolutely rubbish.
Nah,
because
I've used the real McCoy.
Yeah, it's simulation at the end of the day, and it's a simulation. It's not real. I'd rather use a calibrated equipment. I mean, back in the day, before any of these EMFs, we actually used a field strength meter strapped to a CB.
Yeah.
Just a little dummy load to get field strength from it on this little meter. And it works. It actually works.
Yeah.
But it's frequencies, isn't it? What frequency does the spirit work on? And it does vary.
Yeah.
But can you nail it down to an actual frequency? No, we can't. Not yet. We will
No,
do.
you have to have some sort of equipment that can pick up on the frequency in every location you go in. So it would have to be varied. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what frequency do we run on? Anything from 7 to 14, and that's the living, and that's from like being idle, sat down, to being active.
Yeah.
So if and we're quite rigid in that respect, but in spirit, when you've got no solid body to drag about, what could it be? It could be anything from like
Right.
microwave
Yeah.
really down. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, an AVP, it just means that they're actually hitting our frequency, doesn't it? So
yeah. So it's interesting. As I say, I've formulated quite a few years ago. I started doing a study about, and this is where we go on off kilter. We're on to another subject now. High-powered pylons. I know I've mentioned it, and I keep mentioning it, and I will keep mentioning it because it's fascinating that a high-powered pylon seems to be able to capture an image in a non-believer's head. They will swear they've seen a spirit walk, and it could actually, in their mind, it could be in the middle of nowhere. Bridge bypass is one place. Yeah. A lot of people see spirit. Non-believers see spirit. And the formulation I came up with, they're all under high-powered pylons. So these pylons make it similar to a wildlife camera, infrared camera trap. And they become visible while they're under these pylons and then disappear. And this is why people say, oh, I saw something, and then it just disappeared because they've gone from under this pylon. It's something that seems to be quite common all over the world, that spirits seen underneath these pylons. Much more so, now this is where it gets interesting, Nick, more so in Europe, in Britain, because we're on 240 volts, so our pylons transmit at a different frequency to yours. You're on 110. It still happens, but not as often. That's interesting. Again, it shows that there's something to do with frequency.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, a previous school that I worked at actually had pylons in the ground, and that was very active.
Exactly. See, so I think I'm onto something. I really do think I'm onto something. But how do you measure that? How do you measure that? They work at, I think it's between 300 and 500 megahertz. So again, if we can calibrate to that and see what we can get on an actual camera.
Yeah, what we need is a portable pylon, and then we could just about generate anything.
Yeah. See, Robert's asking, is it the pylons or the electricity?
It's the frequency caused by the electricity traveling down the cable.
Yes. It causes and then it just makes it like infrared camera trap for wildlife. When any wildlife passes in front of these infrared trip cameras.
So you're talking about trail cams? Are you talking about
yeah.
trail cams? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, different. They're different name in the UK.
I thought it was something new.
Yeah, that's another thing, isn't it? What's that? Something, bruh.
You are onto something, Eric said.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think so anyway. If you look up and down country, going into archives where certain villages or counties or whatever, you'll get a news article every now and again. Oh, woman sees spirit. So and so, and it always seems to coincide with being underneath these pylons because they're not actual paranormalists. They're not people that believe in spirit, but they see them. And the most people that are not sensitive to spirit see these spirits under pylons or near high frequency situations, like dams. dams actually give, you know, these hydro dams, they give off a frequency. And there's
Right.
a lot of, yes, there's a lot of sightings around dams. Hoover's one of them.
Yeah, that's been around for almost 90 years now, the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, exactly. So its turbines and everything are at a lower frequency, but it's obviously conducive to spirit sightings because there's a lot.
Right.
It's
Now-
surprising.
Now, Terry says invention of AI, Gus, anything is possible. It's going to make paranormal more difficult to see really from fakers attack. It can be modified to say or picture anything you want. And then he just recently said high EMF can make people crazy and interferes with brain waves. Many people had to move out of homes because it made them sick. And it's pretty well documented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that one. Yeah, I
And
know,
not just-
Eric.
Not just that, chemical as well. I mean, we've got, in fact, you've got it as well. There's a gas called radion gas, and that causes it. In fact, that was the basis behind a science fiction film. Is it Quatermass and the Pit? It was, they said it was like a gas, an invisible gas, they called it.
Yeah, I do remember hearing of a film like that. I don't even remember what it was called, but I do recall hearing of a film plot involving something like that.
Yeah. You tend to get that in all films, all science fiction. There's some sort of fact, or it becomes fact, which is I find fascinating. So yeah, but gas, radion gas, can cause that, can cause hallucinations and all sorts like that. So you find that these empty villages, and they still exist today, a bit eerie because you've had this village and it's been there about 100 years, and then as this gas seeps to surface, everybody's cracking up and they have to abandon. We've got some in Derbyshire. I believe we've got a couple of villages in Derbyshire because Derbyshire's a high radion gas area. It's in Russia, and I think the same in parts of Florida. I believe it's Florida. I could be wrong, but there's certain areas that these chemicals leach, and you get a similar effect to what you do from frequencies.
Yeah.
It messes with us equilibrium, shall we say. And I think in some cases it could be what's the condition? Vertigo. Yeah. And I think vertigo sometimes is misdiagnosed because I think that's chemical as well sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Robert, I do agree. The Egyptians did have the power. I'm fascinated with the Egyptians. I absolutely love Egyptians. Anything with Egyptians.
Well, you say that there is a document I read on the internet that apparently they found a nuclear generator that was over 5,000 years old.
Really?
Yes. They've also found proof of batteries.
Yeah. Now that bit I know that bit because they were coconuts, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they got residue of fruit juice in, but they'd also got copper element, which when you put them together, brought around digital watches and digital clocks. The ones that were a fad in the 70s where they had two little electrodes and you could stick them in a piece of fruit.
That's
and
right.
It gave you time and everything. Well, that was a reinvention from what they found in Egypt.
If I remember rightly, potatoes as well.
I hope she's okay, Lauren.
Well, what we got? Some comments?
Yeah, I'm just going through the comments. For starters, unfortunately, Lauren had said that her sister-in-law was diagnosed with vertigo.
Yeah.
And then Robert said the pyramids were basically giant power stations.
Yeah.
Very possibly, yeah.
Okay, through if EMF causes hallucinations, how do you know if it's real activity or you're just seeing something? That's a pretty good question, I have to admit.
That's a bit. What's your thoughts on that one, Tonya?
Okay, what was the question again?
I'll put it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah, Eric was asking if EMF causes hallucinations. How do you know if it's real activity or you're just seeing something?
Okay. Well, basically, okay, I work as a psychic medium, so I'm reading energy. Basically, if I see something that I question, is it interacting with me? Is it, what's going on? And if there's no interactions or anything, sometimes I think maybe I'm hallucinating, honestly. But yeah, if there's no communication between that and whatever you're experiencing or whatever you're seeing, as far as if you're like seeing an actual apparition or whatever, you kind of gotta, I guess you gotta just kind of, for me, feel it out. I don't know, but
yeah, I think it's a combination, isn't it? It's like you're using your psyche, you're using your ability, but the way that I try to intermediate is what physical effect is it having?
yes.
And I'll switch off. I'll literally switch off. And if there's physical interaction, then I will question that it's paranormal. Is it something else? Is it something with the environment that's causing these problems, like sweat, feeling scratch? They're all things that could be an actual environmental thing rather than a paranormal thing.
Now, I do have the girl that works with me, training the teams and everything. She actually has she's allergic to EMF. So she gets, she has symptoms. So if she goes in, a lot of times if she's sick or nauseated or headachy or, a lot of times it's high EMF. So we just usually go back and do a second base reading, double check everything and, go on with the investigation. But usually, sometimes she'll have to actually remove herself from the property.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly, from Australia. Well, and I got to agree with. I also wanted to agree with Brian. That's really interesting too, because I've never heard of, basically someone being allergic to EMF. EMFs. No. That's something new to me.
Well, I don't know if the word allergic would be right. I just know that she had a lot of medical problems growing up as a child, and they lived in Mount Airy, which number one is on Quartz, but she lived across the street from like a power plant maybe, or where they had the grids or whatever set up there in the town.
Oh, I think I know what that is. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough credence given to things like that. Medical profession is very stalwart, and if it doesn't fit in their book, their little book, then they tend to dismiss it. So that's a good explanation. That
she got lucky, and what they did was suggest that they move her from the front of the house to the back of the house, and then it was kind of like the further she got away. I mean, she was missing school. Just had a lot of stuff going on that didn't make any sense, and that's what they traced it to.
Yeah.
Was, she could not be. She couldn't. Her body couldn't take the high EMF.
Which is again, I know it's a spin-off from what you're talking about, but how many people are in institutions suffering with, shall we say, spiritual
75%.
Possession. How many people?
Hearing voices in their head, which they actually are.
Yeah. I mean, being a psychic medium over the years, a lot of people, kind of thought maybe something was wrong with me. But, I do believe that a lot of people in the hospital today are, I think a lot of it does have to do with attachments or possession.
Well, I was just doing a show last night, the show Supernatural Talk that I do, and we were actually talking, in fact, with with the Reverend along with Rich Valdez, which of course the Reverend, he does his show right after ours today. And I mean, not really much on the energy kind of kind of side of things, but because these are really like the real deal when it comes to, like, in this case, like exorcisms and whatnot. We talked about, like, for example, when it comes to, like, mental health or, certain things that, like, if people are sick over and whatnot. And the Rev had explained to us at one point that he doesn't think, of course, obviously everybody that's, going through is obviously, like in this case, let's say a demonic possession. But there are others that he explained in the interview that, once they get that psychiatric help, there's unfortunately not much that, in this case, like many priests or exorcists can really do to proceed with a blessing or an exorcism and whatnot. But they still believe in their heart, at least for these individuals, that they may have some type of connection with the demonic unwillingly. So it's similar to what we're talking about, because I mean, maybe not fully, but it does revolve around the fact of, when it comes to certain types of mental health and illnesses and whatnot.
I mean, I do believe that there are things that are classified as mental health issues, but I think a lot of it is, I mean, even not, maybe not even demonic attachment, but just spirit attachment.
Right, exactly. That too. That's what the Rev said, of course, also as well.
The way I see it, some of the most haunted places around are bars, and so you're in the bar and you're drinking, and there's a spirit in there that likes your energy, and all of a sudden, they're I call them hitchhikers. I mean, they're going to hitchhike a ride on home. And that person's going to start noticing that they're drinking a little bit more, and so yeah.
Jaundice is the biggest side effect, and thankfully, even the medical profession are recognizing that sometimes there could be attachments, because jaundice, yellow skin, sunken eyes, they're all symptoms which they can't find a medical reason for a lot of times. So they're actually starting to invite
they really
other professionals in, which is a good thing. It can't be a bad thing, can it?
I worked with the Metropolitan Archbishop for the past 15 years on demonic cases. So possession, full 100% possession is kind of rare. I've only seen it a few times.
Yes.
Well, I'd say maybe twice in the past 15 years to be exact. But as far as spirit attachments and all of that goes, yeah, we deal with that quite often.
Yeah.
So, but they're human spirits, so
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I must admit, I'm quite skeptical about demonic possession. I would say it was very far in between, like you say, when you said they are about 2 and 15 years. Mm-hmm. But when you get arseholes like Ian's friend Zach Baggins that claims that everything's demon, everything's basically demon.
If we've got that many demons in the world, we're in trouble.
That's what sells episodes, and that's what sells papers, and that's the sensationalist side of it. If you cut it down into nitty-gritty every day, it's spirit. It's not demons, it's spirit. Simple as that. Demons sell papers.
Much labeling of angry and confused spirits as being demonic. Yeah.
Well, in addition to that too, but also like partially going back to, like, for example, the portals. There's always let's give a quick example of, like, let's say Bobby Mackey's Music World in Wilder, Kentucky. The Well is said to be like the notorious gateway to hell, and that there's supposed to be all this demonic stuff that comes out of this whole thing. The only thing I can really think of, because I've gone there myself. When I was there was barely anything that occurred. I mean, I'm not saying at all that it's not haunted. Maybe it was just because we chose a night that there wasn't a lot going on, but there were no scratches. There were no demonic possessions. There was no real negativity to it. And the only thing I'm speculating, because I know they said they had, like, for example, the exorcism of Carl Lawson that occurred all those years ago. In my opinion, maybe there was something at some point demonic, when all those events took place, but whatever's there is no longer officially there, because understandably, in that case, there was an exorcism. They expelled whatever was there. So as far as I'm concerned, again, we probably just chose a night when there was just not much going on. But a lot of people have said it's been mostly human spirits.
At the end of the day, it's not in a demon's nature to draw attention to itself.
No,
So
not at all.
If you know there's one in the building, it ain't going to hang around, is it?
Yeah.
It's a mimic. It's a mimic, isn't it? It wants to be something else. It wants your energy. It's an energy leech.
And it wants
It
to,
definitely wants your energy. But
scare
it wants
you.
to-
Yeah.
Well, it wants to take it any way it can. So if it can appear as a loved one, it'll do that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Right, I'm going to
I'm
read
gonna
some
go
of
to
these
the
comments.
comments.
Oh, me next.
you're-
Said it
I
that
was gonna
too.
say, I'm already ahead of you, Lois, because we got actually quite a number of questions that have been coming in, a
Good,
lot
good,
that I've
good.
seen. Start
Yes,
off with, oh wait, no, we already covered that question.
Yeah, and my answer to that is I have cameras everywhere. I've usually got about 9 on the go in a case. But
see, this is, I know that's, I know what that question is. Here we go. Here's what we're looking for with Wendy. She was asking, do you think underground power lines or above ground power lines have more effect on EMF readings?
it'll be the overground ones, because the underground ones will be slightly grounded. Although
Exactly.
they'll create a bit of a magnetic field. The ones in the air will do more.
And then Terry also said, this wasn't really a question, but if you walk under power pylon with a fluorescent tube, it will light up. So that's what's doing to your brain. Studies show a high number of childhood cancer comes from homes with close pylons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially in the old days when they weren't insulated at all.
Yeah. Kelly says, true, Terry, I think we should be concerned about 5G.
Yes.
Definitely.
We got another question here also from Wendy. Do cell towers play a role on mixed EMF readings?
Yep. Can do.
Yeah, because the weather conditions can change and that EMF reading can change because of the pylons.
Yeah.
You'll notice, like the frequency, you won't really hear it, but if it rains, you'll suddenly hear the buzzing.
Yeah, and crackling. Definitely.
That's what somebody had said. It was Robert. Yeah, he said that you sometimes hear those pylons.
Oh, they're always humming, but
yeah,
day to
The
day,
change-
you don't notice it.
Change pitch, obviously. Atmosphere changes.
Now, next question we got here. This is from Lauren, and this is when we were kind of talking more about the mental health scenarios. But she was asking, what about someone that has bipolar?
Any condition. And this is why I mentioned the medical side of thing with possessions and the like. Yes, most definitely. Autistic people can be sensitive.
Myself,
Bipolar
yeah.
is another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is another one. And what's the other condition? We touched on it.
Multiple personality disorder.
Yeah, Asperger's, any of these, the heightened sense complaints, really. So, yeah, of course you're going to be sensitive. The medical profession doesn't allow for variables. That's the problem. You're in a niche, and it's as simple as that. Whereas in reality, you can be from one end of the spectrum to another. So it's going to be affected. It's the only way I can explain it.
Seeing that explain our energy field when disrupted can cause all sorts of illnesses, as well as leave us open in weak spots to things that like to latch on.
Yeah.
And we're all back.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
this.
mentioned that one with jaundice, with eyes and yellow complexion and sunken eyes and one thing and another. They're all physical signs of deprivation to frequencies.
See, I'm just trying to go through. Okay. Oh, they both have bipolar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got bipolar as well, so I can totally understand you, Lauren.
Now, Terry also said here, I found a lot of investigators who've gone into homes have not done enough research on the individuals and made it 100 times worse. Often it's psychological. Even asthma undiagnosed need to be really careful and take responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why going into private cases is a big no-no if you've got no idea what you're doing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we have a stack like this of interview questions, and they cover everything, every medication, every diagnosis they've ever had, everything. Because
And I'm familiar in all walks of life, not just paranormal side doing that. In massage therapy side and Reiki, I have to ask so many questions before I give any sort of medication or anything like that, or treatment really, because you never know. You could be touching somebody and the skin can fall off. It's as radical as that. What's that one?
Demons, animals from the future.
Right.
Yep. And they come in the shape of Mr. Varro.
Says the red-haired demon.
Do you know what? I'm going to get fucking horns painted at the top of my head.
I've seen them in your unedited pictures.
Oh, please, Dave.
Spirits are using the internet highway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything
There's a lot of these analogies that actually they're in science fiction, like I mentioned earlier. There's episodes of Star Trek that all these things that we mentioned tonight are covered, as weird as it may sound. I mean, what does the hologram do? The medical hologram. He travels through the internet in a way throughout the ship. I mean, these are veins. These are like physical veins, aren't they, to a digital being? So there's so much possibility, and we just scratch its surface. It's still all new, really. Although human beings have been interacting for a couple of centuries now, we're still no further until we get with it. Basically, as my kids said to me, "Get with it, Father. You need to be digital."
Guys, I gotta show something to you guys. Something real quick. It was something Lauren just sent me because she said she wanted me to show something not only to Ian, but I thought it would be pretty funny to show all of you guys. Check this out.
Go.
It's actually a pretty good meme. So when it comes to certain types of, I guess you can kind of say activity or whatever, this is the best way to describe what paranormal investigators have been in over the last 40 years.
Yeah, I've actually got that picture. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ian has that as his poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if that was me playing Venkman, I'd have a gun in my hand, not a microphone.
I was just wanted to show that quickly.
Right, guys, I'm going to have to bow out because something's come up with my sister. What I'm going to do is announce next week. Next week, guys, we have Spirit Crew Scotland / Paranormal Footprints. I'm saying both names because they are they're running off one, but they've definitely got the other, so I'm just including that. I want to thank Tonya for coming on and putting up with our shites. Yeah. And I just want to thank I want to thank my host tonight, Bri. He's done a wonderful job. I didn't have less faith in him. I knew he could do it. And guys, just tune in next week. I'm closer to hopefully getting my hero on, as I call him. Fingers crossed for me in this. I really, really want to secure this one.
I'm Lois.
Oh no, you're just that poster that I stare at every night and go, see you handsome. But I'll see you later, guys.
See you later.
Right,
See you,
bye.
Lois.
Bye.
Well, that means Nick's in charge now. Yeah.
Yeah, because I got control. I'm in control of the everything else. So we
Keep
go
People
on,
doing
go on for a
Keep
little
us
bit longer.
doing it, comments. What have we got? Any more comments, Nick?
Well, for starters, I actually just wanted to bring up this one in particular. Tonya, Lauren sent you a friend request, which it's really great, Lauren. I know you don't know who she is, but she's actually been quite a big supporter for our network, not only this show, but for our network and a number of others. So she always enjoys the guests, and she's always want to connect with you. So
Awesome. Great.
yeah. So Lauren is always thank you for always for showing her support on this. But going to a few of the other comments, because I did miss a few other ones. I think this one with Kelly. Environment metals in the atmosphere, and God knows what else they put in our system.
Yeah. We've been messing with it since we started actually shooting things up there. So First World War, Second World War was an absolute disaster. But through 50s and 60s, it's not ballistic, it's just shoving things up satellite wise. They all come back through magnetism. They all come back. And people don't realize
I could be wrong on this, but wasn't also environment metals at times even used like during Vietnam? Because for example, you see something like with Agent Orange. I mean, I know those were more like kind of chemicals, if you will, but didn't it have some of that environment metal in them?
Yes, everything that they shove up there. I mean, it's same with silver nitride. I mean, China has been using silver nitride to re-green deserts because it causes rainfall. And the more forests we fell, it's not constant. It changes trade winds and where that natural rainfall occurs. It's like remapping. Basically, we're remapping the world all the time. So we're getting rainfall where we never used to get it before. So the deserts are becoming green and the green belts becoming deserts. It's just so topsy-turvy. It's not global warming as they call it, because that's pretty constant. It warms up and it cools down over a couple of thousand years. It's natural again. But they're using scare tactics to tell us that we should be doing this and we should be doing that. No, all we need to do is try to keep a constant and not put these chemicals into atmosphere. Silver nitride causes rain, but it causes rain where it's not supposed to be. Because we're selfish. Again, we're causing rainfall because we need it in certain areas. China decided stuff ethnics, and we're going to do it. And the rest of the world's followed suit. So this is the reason. It's not global warming whatsoever. That's the reason for unusual rainfall, unusual storms. It's nothing unnatural in that respect, apart from what we've made it. People need to see these things. They don't. They listen to social media and they listen to media and just swallow it up, line and sinker, basically.
So here's the question. I mean, I know Terry just described what John D says, and I already know what it is to myself, exactly what the infection is. But wasn't that also at one point kind of mistaken for example, like the yellow fever outbreak that occurred? Because I know it had similar symptoms like that. It made the skin and eyes turn yellow in a way. So is that kind of considered like the same kind of disease, or are they separate in a way? I've never really understood it.
there's a few different causes for it. Obviously, there's a paranormal side of it, but on physical side, chemicals again. Most cases of jaundice and yellow fever are chemically induced, and unfortunately, what we've just suffered really is injections that we've given ourselves. We've formulated these concoctions as a cure, and it ends up being a reason, a cause of the condition.
Now, Terry makes another good point. Nothing is new. It's just a rehash of what's already here.
Yeah. We try to reinvent things and cock it up.
Well, did we get it right the first time? That's a question.
Well, exactly. Any more questions?
Well, Lauren's fingers are crossed, as she said. I guess she's. You know, I never got to tell Tonya, if you don't mind me asking, where are you from?
Kernersville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, you're just staying away then, because Lauren lives in up north in Virginia.
Awesome! Wow, close by. So we're like.
You never know who you're dealing with.
Robert, Lauren is not a stalker. She's always been very supportive. Oh, wait, here's another one right here. Terry just asked, where do you think the conscious goes while we're asleep? Do we gain information from spirit dimension? Yeah. Go ahead and answer that one.
Oh, me, because I got my definition from my 8-year-old granddaughter. We were talking about a dream that she had a few weeks back. And I'm always asking questions. So I kind of asked her, I said, well, you know, Lydia, exactly where do you think you go when you sleep? She just, one of them dimensions. I said, huh? She said, you know, one of the dimensions. I said, okay. I said, well, exactly what is a dimension? She said, well, it's like a video game. She said, it's like a multi-story house with different things going on each floor. There's doorways where you can go in on this floor up here, and you might come out on this floor over here. And I'm like, well, that's the best description of a dimension I've ever, you know, where your consciousness goes when you sleep is to a dimension.
Yeah.
I don't know. From an 8-year-old.
I think that's the latest film in it, Avatar. Explains a few things. Good to see, look up somewhere else. And I think that's going to be a reality. What were the first film that was similar to that? Where I can never remember names. It was a squashy game that you plugged into your side.
Oh, Existence.
That's the one.
Yes.
That's the one. That was first one that sort of took that question on. Where do you go?
Biological video game.
Yeah. There's been various explanations, and there were another one where it was drugs, basically drug induced. Train Spotting. Go back to that even. Fantastic film, Train Spotting. Yeah.
Scots again. Yeah, I know.
But there's loads of explanations, and we go through them through film, through science fiction, and it becomes science fact. It's fascinating. Well, I think so anyway. But what amount of it is real? What amount of it is chemical? And what amount of it is paranormal? These are the things that we're trying to sift through and put a number to, because we have to put numbers. Being human, we have to put it in a category.
Yeah. Well, unless you're an investigator.
Well, yeah. We just keep going.
They're a bit more flexible than.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, guys, it's gone 5 past. We've done over an hour. Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And Terry's got to go anyway. So I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, Kelly, I'll have to send it to him afterwards because we do have to get off here. But I'll send it to you. But I did get it though. I've been meaning to watch it again. The last couple of days I've been really busy, but I'll send it to the others so they can watch it for themselves. So and Lauren, awesome, great, awesome. Always having you guys. I mean, having you support us. But I don't really have anything else to say, honestly.
Not to worry. Thank you for joining us, Tonya. Been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
It was definitely a pleasure meeting you.
Again.
I hope so. Thank you.
No worries. Right,
You're very
guys.
welcome.
Good
All right.
night from me.
You guys all have a great day / night. Take care.